Good morning, everyone. Some years ago, Franco Zeffirelli used to come out with these very romantic sort of movies, and so we had Romeo and Juliet was one of them. But also he produced a movie called Brother, Sun, Sister, Moon, which was the life of Saint Francis. It was quite interesting in that movie that the relationship between Francis and Claire was developed as a kind of a romantic relationship. But there's nothing that suggested that actually did take place. Nevertheless, Claire, whose feast day we celebrate, Saint Claire, whose feast day we celebrate today, was an associate of Saint Francis, and as he developed within his vocation, working with the poor and so forth, she also developed her own work with poor people, and in fact established the order known as the Poor Clares. And one of the important elements of the Poor Clares is that they have absolute poverty. They don't own anything, not even as a group. So individuals, they don't, and so it's to rely entirely on donations and the support that they would get there. Of course, during time, over time, many people have tried to establish it as an organization where they were able to have assets and so forth. And needless to say, as there are progressives, there will also be those people who resist it. Nevertheless, St. Clare, whose feast we celebrate today, a great example of giving her life completely to the service of others. In the gospel today, we have an interesting concept. It's called the half shekel. And that was the tax collectors going and saying, does Jesus pay his half shekel? Of course, the apostles scuttle off and said, yes, do we pay the half shekel? Well, half shekel, to put it in place, was an annual tax which was contributed to the temple and for the development of building the temple, the holy temple, that is. And so the half shekel was paid. Equivalent of a half shekel these days would be about, they say, $10, which I suppose in our currency is R1,000,000, not quite that. $10 would be just under 200 Rand, I suppose, but it wasn't a huge amount of money. Nevertheless, it was obligatory for every male over the age of 20 to make that payment. And these days, there are also still charitable donations that are required of people who follow the Jewish tradition. Something we could look to, for our example, we talk about tithing, but we don't necessarily do it as a compulsory contribution. And nevertheless, we are encouraged to make our contribution towards those people who need it. Have a wonderful day. Keep yourself safe. God bless. Bye-bye.